birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Michael. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I guess for those of you who are just joining the video playback, you know it's my birthday. Welcome everybody, February 28th, 2022. Mike DiMuccio here, your host on Aligning with Success. And I promised my guests tonight waiting for me that I would make this a short call, but I definitely wanted to make this a call. First of all, thank you. Thank you for all the good wishes. I have so many messages I have to get back to. It's insane. Today started off as a day where I had literally nothing scheduled and I was just deluged with stuff. So it's been such a busy day. I don't know if that's just because it's month end. I don't know if it's because it's my birthday. Maybe it's a combination. And of course, I know all of you are experiencing what most of us are experiencing. We have our challenges with this new software. So I don't know. Do you guys remember? I may have told you this story. I'm pretty sure I told you this story. Back when I started Nikken, in my first three weeks when Nikken launched in Canada, I had this conversation with my daughter earlier today, and she was like, "I'm so disappointed because it's not this, it's not that." And I'm like, and I said, "You know, honey, let me tell you a story." I said, when I started Nikken in my first month, Nikken was having some challenges, but not really any fault of their own. We were actually shut down by Health Canada in the first 3 weeks of business, and that was it. It was like, now what? And now it was the very same day we had our guest speaker fly in to do our main event. So the big event that we'd been planning for January was this main event. We knew we had at least 200 people, if not more, coming to this event. And on the ride from the airport to the meeting place, we get a phone call from Nikken telling us we're shut down. And it's like, oh my God. What do you do when your company is telling you they're out of business in Canada for the moment? Meanwhile, you got all these people coming to an event and their guests and so forth. What do you do? I mean, that's really a tough call. Well, the decision was made that the show must go on. Why? Because some people might be saying, well, that lacks integrity. You know, how can you promote something when you really can't promote it? And it's like, that's a matter of opinion. We honestly, those of us who felt so strongly about what we were doing and about this company and its integrity and its tenure, it's proven itself in all the years it's been in business. We just knew whatever was wrong, they'd fix it. We just knew it. We just felt in our hearts that whatever is wrong, they'll get it fixed. They'll get it sorted out. So our job is not to lose faith, is to just keep moving on and they'll sort it out. Well, it took 6 weeks to sort it out, by the way. So in the meantime, we got very creative. We figured, okay, since we can't take orders in Canada, that very night, we had 230 people show up. So here we are, 230 people, you know, maybe a half dozen or so of us know that Nikken's been shut down. What do you do? So you just put on your best face and you go and you do what you have to do, because you don't want to take this opportunity away from anybody until you absolutely have nowhere else to go. We just had faith. So anyway, so we did our meeting. And of course that created results and people wanted to join and they wanted to place orders, but we can't place orders. We could sign them up, but we couldn't place any orders until we figured out in not so, you know, literally within the first 24 hours, we can place their orders to be shipped to Buffalo, New York. And if we ship them to Buffalo, New York, we'll set up a warehouse in Buffalo, freight forwarding warehouse. We'll call them up and we'll say, we're going to have all these products come to you, and then we're going to come and pick them up ourselves, which is what we did. We went in car caravans and we drove to Buffalo and we picked up the products and drove them across the border to be delivered and picked up by the people who ordered them. We did this for 6 weeks until, of course, things got sorted out. But half of the people, at least at least half of the people quit who had come into Nikken in those first few weeks of January. At least half of them quit because they just thought, oh well, it's not real, it's fake, it's this, it's whatever they told themselves, whatever excuse they gave themselves, because there was a bump, and at the first bump they just bailed out. And I tell people, man, I earned my millions that day. That was the day I earned my money, because that was the day I never quit on Nikken, and they never quit on me. They proved themselves. So I'm telling you, regardless of how bad it might look right now, and how much challenges you may have, and believe me, I can't imagine anybody here is more frustrated than me. Trust me, you can't imagine how many phone calls I've had. And so, and I don't mince words. I usually say what I feel. So there's a bunch of Nikken right now. People at Nikken head office are probably feeling the impact of that. But I just want you to know, I'll never give up, because I know they'll figure it out. Whatever it is, it gets sorted out. Yeah, it's sometimes uncomfortable. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to have to, what can you say to somebody who's new and is experiencing this? Or somebody who, you just got to give them that understanding that this too shall pass, and this will get sorted out, and we'll look back on this as like a troubling time, but it's not going to stop what we're doing. It's not going to stop Vision 2025. It's not going to stop this company from fulfilling its manifest, its date with destiny. So I just wanted to say that, because I want you to know that I know what it feels like to be getting text messages every 15 minutes or 5 minutes. And it's like, I don't know what to say. Just hang in there. We'll figure it out one piece at a time, one problem at a time. We'll just get through this. And that's that. By the way, all things having been said, it hasn't been a bad month at all. So you all know, by the way, Nikken's extended the month by 2 days, unless something's changed. I know we have the next 2 days to get the ducks in a row for whatever we need. Ruth, you got your hand up. You usually on the inside track. So what's up? Wait, you're muted.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to share real quick that just know it's only going to get better from this point forward, right? It's not going to get worse. It's only going to get better. So just stay patient and know they are working around the clock, day by day, hour by hour. We are seeing improvements. So that I find to be very encouraging. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that, because it is getting better each and every day.
Thank you. And by the way, I'm the first to tell you, I don't like change. It's kind of weird to hear it from me, right? But I don't. I think most of us don't like change, especially as we get older, and I'm a year older as of today. So yeah, it's that feeling, you put your hands together, that's what you feel is comfortable. Now slide them one finger, it feels really weird. There's nothing wrong about it, it just feels weird because you're not used to it. So yeah, we're just going to have to get used to the look and feel of things. But the people joining us right now, assuming that they're not going to encounter any challenges in a few days or a week's time from now, whatever it is, they're not going to know it different. They're just going to know what it is. So it's only those, it's when Nikken does a price increase, you guys know what the price is, and then you know what the increase is like. Oh, they're going to raise the prices. You have to be reminded, folks, when they raise the price, that means you get a raise. You get a pay raise when they raise the price. This is a good thing. And to the public who doesn't know what the price is to begin with and doesn't understand the value until you explain it to them, there's no difference to them. It's only to you because you knew the before and the after. So it's just a paradigm shift, as my friend Bob Proctor would say. It's just a paradigm shift. So enough about that. We are on the cusp of month end now that we have a couple of extra days. So I don't have any new content to share with you other than to remind you that we're in this for the long haul, not the short run. And I hope you keep to your vision, keep to your goals, You know, don't let this month slip by. You got an extra 2 days. I know sometimes you think, I don't know how that's going to happen. And the good news is you don't have to. And you might think, oh, that's impossible. How can I not? I have to know how it's going to happen. No, I have seen, and you have seen miracles. I mean, really, think about it. How many times in your life has something happened that you didn't expect, but were pleasantly surprised by? You know, a square peg somehow fit into a round hole at the last minute. We've all experienced this. We've all had miracles, every one of us. There's not a single person who has not experienced a miracle. Miracle is that thing that you couldn't imagine, or you didn't anticipate, but shows up and just makes it work, makes it all better. Those things happen and they're real. And the thing that determines whether or not you're going to be the recipient of one of those miracles is your faith, is whether you're going to stay on the path rather than throw in the towel. You know, I think the angels are sitting there saying, you move, I move. You move, I move. But you got to stay in the game to move. And then they respect and reflect that commitment, that dedication. Sometimes you got to be patient. Sometimes they'll put you to the test, but that's the universe. It loves to challenge us. It loves for us to grow. And it's all about that at the end of the day. How many of you, by raise your hand, happened to watch the memorial to Bob Proctor yesterday? Quite a few of you. By the way, it's available on video on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And I encourage you who've had any kind of a connection to Bob Proctor to watch it. It was quite moving. It was very emotional at times. And just the impact that a human being can have on the world is something. You know, each of us have a legacy. We've all made a difference in the lives of people. And many of us who are doing Nikken do this on purpose. And we do this because we're called to. You know, what I take away from a guy like Bob Proctor is, especially after listening to yesterday's thing, was he was, if you had to describe him in one word, how do you describe a person in one word? The one word that comes to mind where he is concerned, that was evidenced by all the people who've known him or anybody who had any interaction with him at all. The word would be, oh my God, Paula. Yes, that's exactly the word. Giver. 100%. That's the man. And never stop giving. Right up until the end. I'm so honored to have been his friend and to have worked with him and collaborated with him in Nikken. It just gives me more desire, more energy to keep that legacy of what he taught and instilled in me to keep it going. So we're givers. If you're in Nikken, you're a giver. That's how you got to be here. And that's what's going to keep you here, because you got your eye on the ball. And what's the ball? The people around you, the people you can touch and influence, because you're a giver. And as long as the direction of your energy is in that direction, you're outputting, you're giving, you receive. It's automatic. It's the consequence of being a giver. You receive. So just keep that energy going out and keep your eye on the ball, because there's people out there right now. You know, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. I haven't given you guys a chance to do any, but I listened to my daughter, Savannah, last night. She hung out with me a bit after everybody left, and it was just her and I. And the way the words, I wish you guys could hear what she says. When she started talking about how she started saying in her calls, you know, I used to say Nikken's not for everybody, because of course, she was taught that by me. We say that in our contact and invite, this may not be for you. But she says, that's not true. She even said it on the call the other day, on the Nikken Seikokai call. She says, not true. Nikken is for everybody. Nikken is actually for everybody. And when I hear her describe Nikken last night in the words that she used, where it's such a, it's like what is Nikken? Like the words she was using, the description she was giving, it's not a product or a product line. It's not a company as a corporation. There's this thing called Nikken, which is this thing that matters. And the way she's describing it as a 22-year-old, I think she's 22. She's 22 or she's 23. I'm losing track. 22. So, but the way she's describing it and how energetically she's projecting it, the importance and the significance of this thing we call Nikken. As I'm listening to it, her speak about this, I know she's not talking about any one thing. So there's this thing called Nikken that seems to matter and has this intrinsic importance in people's lives that once they encounter it, it seems to live in them like a living thing. It's extraordinary. And I know what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about. I can't put my finger on it, but I know what she's talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about? When you think of Nikken and it's like its significance in your life, in the world, and it's like, yeah, we have product issues and yeah, we have tech issues and what, but none of that really seems to matter because there's something about this that actually matters so much more than any of that stuff. And it's so weird because you don't encounter that in life, if ever, rarely. Paul, you got your hand up. Paul Gaddis.
Yeah, it really is an entity into itself. And just to put some words to it, I'm 69, I get out of bed, I don't feel one iota of pain. And that's just one thing. But you know what? To be able to give that to people, it's a whole way of being. I'm optimistic. And that's, no, I'm a lifer, as they say. No matter what they do with the technology, they'll get around it.
Thanks, Paul. Does anybody else have any words for this? Like, what's your interpretation of it? If somebody says, what's Nikken? And you really touch that chord, what would you say? Catherine.
I would say Nikken's, it's amazing what it does. It's incredible. I have my son that has the sleep system, and he went to a friend's house the other weekend, and he said, I don't want to sleep at your house. And then he was wondering he's like, why, what's wrong? He's like, well, you don't have Nikken at your house. So he said, I don't want to sleep. He's like, it's not to be mean, but like, I'd rather go back to my Nikken house. So it was just funny because, he's like, I sleep so well in my sleep system, in my sleeping bag and on my pillow. And he's like, I'd have to bring it to your house if you want me to sleep over.
Wow.
So I said, well, we're not going to bring it to other people's houses, but like
out of the mouths of babes, right? Oh yeah. Fantastic. Thanks, Catherine. Maudie Cloud.
Yes, sorry. I'm a bit shy to speak English in front of a lot of people, but it's my first time. I would say I'm with you since a short time. And what touched me the most was the only reason why I took my decision was, of course, for the quality of the company. But the first thing was because it was really touching my profound values as a human being. For many years, I worked with sick people, feeling that I could not do anything more than, because of what I had and the time I had, the energy and the staff and everything that was around. I was like, I just had the feeling there was never enough. And now it feels like I have tools for me, but also tools that I can use to help people, also for, feeling better, but also get their empowerment and their freedom and their wellness. I don't know if I make myself clear, but
yes.
that's very, very profound. So it's not work, it's a way of living my passion right now. Yeah, that's what I'm born for.
Wonderful.
That's what I was looking for as a nurse. And in Nikken, it feels like I'm touching something very deep. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, and you're new to Nikken, which is amazing because some of us have been around for a long time, me for 30 years, and
Yeah,
I still can't put it into words.
It's just I was in contact with Nikken in 2006 or 7 with the ion machine, and I felt right away the difference in the air, and it sticked into my head. You know, it was connected, and then but I didn't know that I would end up here. But you know, thanks to Leo, because yeah, it brought me back to my purpose.
Wow. So, and there you go. There's a big word. One of the things that they say in Latin America is Nikken is a business with purpose. So if we're going to describe Nikken, and somebody said, you know, describe Nikken, Nikken is a business with purpose. So is it a network marketing company? Well, we have a network marketing compensation plan, but Nikken is a business with purpose. It's so much more than what people would label it as. You know, because network marketing, it's not new. There's a lot of network marketing companies. But Nikken is a business with purpose. And this thing, as you're talking, I'm thinking, it's like Nikken is a spirit. It's like there's this spirit called Nikken. And when you connect to this spirit called Nikken, it just gives you a sense of purpose and belonging and meaning. It's like, and yet how else would you describe it? Yes, the products are great. Yes, the people are amazing. Yes, the philosophy is all that, but it seems to be alive. The spirit of Nikken seems to be a living thing that we really feel. It's amazing. Yes, Linda.
Hi, birthday boy. I'm going to use your word because I've learned so much from you and your wonderful daughters, and it's an energy force. It's like energy. It's like the wind. We know it's there. We feel it. We know what it changes. We can't really touch it, but it changes you. It truly changes it. It's almost like it's a spiritual thing. So it's very hard to relay that to people in words without sounding too mystical. But having been in this since 2006, I can really say it has transformed my life in ways I would have never imagined, beyond just how wonderful the products are. It's an all-inclusive experience that you have to give it some time, and it truly does get into you. So I just look at it as a force and an energy.
Wonderful. Great description. I love the analogy to the wind. You can't touch it, but you feel it. It's there. It's like its presence is known. Yeah. Wonderful. Elaine.
I don't usually tell this to people, but after my husband died, my life had changed, and I didn't know whether I wanted to come back and do all my singing lessons that I give. I didn't know whether I wanted to be a Nikken. And so I was just, putting my toe in the water, and they had a nice meeting in Salt Lake. And so I went to it. And as I walked in, all of this golden light flowed in with me. And that's always a good sign to me, golden light. And it was about that time of day, sunset time. And so I looked around to see where the window was, and there was no window.
Wow.
And I thought that was a really good sign that, that Nikken was one of those things that was approved by higher ups, that, and that's what we're talking about, is that kind of spiritual and feeling element to it.
And I so agree with you on that one. The idea that this is approved, this is a manifest destiny, that when Nikken came into being, it came to fulfill a purpose for humanity, not just for individuals, but for humanity as a whole. And you cannot underestimate the impact that this thing has had around the globe already. Imagine how much more can come from this. Madeline, you're on mute.
Thank you. Man's search for meaning, purpose, whatever, might surprise all of you, surprised me too. The concept of vocation or a calling, the calling, your purpose. And I actually considered becoming a nun, except they had quiet hours. So they knew and I knew that I wouldn't make it there. We only had a cloistered monastery in the Byzantine Rite. So that was that. And so like Maria, nursing became the profession where it was a calling, the same thing. And like my friend from Utah that just spoke, when I lost the job and the husband, that the way that I enacted my calling was through those two roles, and then all this volunteer stuff. I've always done that, taking care of others. And I was just searching and searching, and I just always felt I was searching. And Mike, for 2 years, when Jerry kept calling me, about her product results and so forth, and I didn't believe it. Didn't believe this cardiac pulmonary recovery. It just seemed impossible with my cardiac and pulmonary background. And then I met with her to hand her back all the VHSs and tapes, and I couldn't believe what I saw in her. I did my head to toe jugular vein, assessment, but and then she said, "You said we're not going to talk." So she just talked, never got short of breath. But at the end, I said, "Jerry, I don't understand it, but I'm taking back the bag of tapes." And so in the bag of tapes was the Creating Balance brochure, Mike, that I think you created with the 5 pillars of health on the front of it. And she pulled it out and I just started crying. And because what I had been doing while I was looking for another job, and I couldn't find a way to enact my vocation, I didn't know how to start my own company, but what I was doing was body, mind, spirit, continuing education for nurses. Just started my own thing with CEUs through the Ohio Nurses Association, going around putting on. And I just looked at that and it was like, this is the vehicle and the calling and the purpose. And that what I was thinking of, I was driving home from somewhere else, just listening, was that saying that many people use is, when did you get into Nikken and when did Nikken get into you? And I think of Barb Satterwhite, and I love it for loving it. Or Barb, she has a new acronym that you have to learn about, Mike, that she shared earlier today and after this weekend. But that the onboarding that the two of you are working on, how do we get people started? Whether we know what our call or our purpose is, or whether it comes, it's whenever Nikken gets into us as far as Nikken goes. And I think that's what everybody is saying here tonight. It's a feeling, it's an experience, it's passion, pass I on. And however we do it, whether it's Leo's method, Mike's method, Madeline's method, Barbara's method, it doesn't matter. It's our essence and our vocation, the call to serve. And Louise talks about that so much. Not that the money and the outcome, isn't more important, and the bigger the network, the more people you're serving and all of that. But that's probably been part of our handicap. We just love it so much. Those of us that don't have the entrepreneurial mindset as much, or the most recent computer skills, we just have to shift that paradigm or find the other people, attract all those people that can do that. And then we can be be our own leader, attracting all that diversity, because everybody does need it before the first breath, especially before the first breath, because these new little babies in utero need to be exposed to less of this and have all the nourishment of everything that we have until the last breath. And so thank you.
Thank you.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Time's up.
Yeah. Dee, you've got your hand up.
Yes, I do. I'm in a couple women's book clubs, but one that met today is Covering Nature and the Human Soul by Bill Plotkin. and he's a psychologist, and he is talking about in this one section about looking at things from a pathological view versus a holistic view. And when I read this part, and it's very short, I'll read it to you, but it says, the goal is to encourage and foster something functional and fulfilling rather than to remove something dysfunctional and deadening.
Hmm.
And that just seems like that's part of this that we're trying to name about Nikken. It's an approach with the 5 pillars of wellness, with the humans being more, with the, I'm an old nurse too, you know, the body, mind, spirit part, everything being connected, and how do we look at it? And how do we then move through it in order to help ourselves and each other?
Thanks, Steve. Well, I'll tell you, you guys represent an extraordinary group of people who have been given a blessing, an incredible blessing, and a call. You've been given a call. And the fact that you identified it, recognized it, and stepped into it is a blessing in itself. It's a miracle. And yet, there's so many people out there who can't be on a call like this. They can't possibly understand what we're saying. They don't have this connection to this thing that is moving them on a level that is deep and profound. And they deserve that. They deserve that. There's a disconnect that's happened in the world, and it's actually been encouraged. And we need to help bring people back together. And that's where we can find the humanity in people and show them that there is a place where this is permissible. There's a place where prosperity, body, mind, family, society, finances is encouraged, and in a balanced approach, so that it's not a compromise of values. This is our job, folks. Our job is to help convey this message to more and more people, and be still and quiet in your conviction, in your knowing, especially when the boat gets rocked. It's the people who can keep their heads about them when others are losing theirs are the ones who are going to get all the attention. Yoko.
Mike, when I saw this, I thought that I come from business, so that's what I started saying at the beginning when I found Nikken is, why haven't I heard of it in the Wall Street Journal? No, I'd never hear it in the Wall Street Journal because it's so much beyond a business. It is something like what attracted me and has kept me here 15 years is being more. It's a gift. It's something that you know somewhere, however, you never touch it in the past until you find Nikken. I have never seen anything like this or felt anything like this. And one of my family is a key witness. They'll say, Mom, everything is Nikken. Everything is Nikken. And it's true, but they don't understand it yet. So that's it.
Thank you. Well, listen, one more, and then we'll wrap up. Paul Gabius.
Just wanted to say something to Madeline. I've known you for years, but you said something. You started with Man's Search for Meaning, and I looked at that book too. But then you said that you wanted to be a nun. And then, of course, you are a nurse. And that went ping, a whole new dimension to you. And I'm working with somebody who comes from a religious background, and I'd like to find a way to talk to you because it's amazing. Somebody can say something and a whole new vista opens up, and you did that. And it's a very important part of your story. And it did something in me.
Well, I'd love to connect, Paul.
Wonderful.
We'll find a way.
Well,
Yes.
listen, I want more people connecting to this message, to this group, to your vitality, to your energy. And please feel free to be a person who speaks up on this call. I know I know once I get started, it's hard for me to stop. I guess I was just born with the
Just
gift.
remember that, Michael, when you
Yeah,
need to stop
I was-
me. Yes, okay.
I have the gift of gab, but I'd rather be a facilitator and encourage people to come out. And thank you, Marie-Claude, for jumping in and stepping into the unknown and the uncomfortable, because that's where the growth is. It's always on the other side of our comfort zone. So wonderful for that. Anyway, folks, thank you again for joining the call this evening. Make this month end really count, really make it count. This is such a great, we have such a great reason to be alive today at this time, and a vehicle to make it, to give people, restore faith and hope in humanity, because there is a place where it is safe to be human and a human being the best we can be. We've had great examples who've come before us, and you are all the living embodiment of this philosophy. All of you, you've all taken it on and embraced it, and you're now the emissaries of this. You're the ones that get to share it with the rest of the world, a world in crisis. So please don't hesitate to open your heart, open your mind, open your mouth. People, they may give you a hard time at first because they're really in a state of shock. Many people can't even fathom that such a place exists. They won't trust you. They won't believe you at first. But if you keep calm, have faith in them, see past that fear, and then lead them into this environment, they will see for themselves what's here. And I can't imagine them not wanting to be a part of it.
Can we all
So-
sing happy birthday to Michael?
Oh,
We
no.
don't sing as well as you do, but we can sing happy birthday.
You kind of did at the they did
You
it
did,
at the
and the leg
beginning.
is terrible.
When I was
The
late.
leg.
Yeah,
horrible.
I
Well, happy
appreciate it.
birthday, Mike. I
Thank
just-
you so much, and happy birthday to our CEO, Luis. He's
Yes.
also celebrating a birthday tonight. Thanks,
Yes.
everybody. Have a great
Yeah.
evening. Have a great month, and see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Call tomorrow.
Good
Kick off
night.
call tomorrow.